You're listening to the Co-Creator Network. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Hey, welcome everybody to Self-Mastery, Becoming a Leader of Light in a Changing World. This is Mary Schechter, and I'm here today on the 3rd of April, 2013, with Maryann Roefaro, my co-host, to launch our new 13-week series for spring of 2013, and we're really glad to be back. We've had a little bit of a vacation. It was well-deserved and certainly appreciated, and at this point, we're looking forward to all the new topics that we're going to be focusing on for you during the next 13 weeks. We today will be covering one that I think is oftentimes very confusing for people. It's very debilitating in some cases because folks don't necessarily know the tools and know necessarily how to extract themselves from their own thinking. So today's focus will be, how do I know it's time to let go, and what you need to know today to get that started. But before we launch our program for the next half hour, I just want to remind folks that we are here every Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time as part of the Co-Creator Radio Network. And you can take a look at our archive shows, take a look at our homepage as part of that family at Co-Creator by going to www.cocreatornetwork.com, and there is a dash there between co and creator. We want to give a shout out to Ken White, our producer, who is not only enthusiastic, but he's equally skilled and is always there for us each and every week. And so without him, we couldn't be here in front of you, sharing the things that we are, and hopefully making a difference in your lives and in your perceptions. Just a reminder also that I have a private practice called the Intuitive Organization. I'm very proud to say that I've been successfully engaged in doing good work, I believe, at least for the last 10, if not 11 years now. And our focus is to transform the workplace by transforming the limiting beliefs and the behaviors that define it. So bringing people and performance together using emotional intelligence is the focus. We just help people get along better. And the way we do that is to take you through a process of self-mastery and then help you to develop interpersonal skills that you use every single day, but that you can always stand to improve. And that would be anything ranging from your leadership ability to managing conflict, to communicating, and so on and so forth. So as we take a look at working with organizations, we're focused on identifying the dysfunction, or what we call limitation, at 3 levels. That would be at individual, team, and then departmental levels within the organization, all with the idea that we can conduct a behavioral assessment to get you started, and then to work with you side by side to create a plan of action to help you transform that workplace from one which is fear-based to one which is freedom-based, one which incorporates and embraces the best of intentions, the best capabilities that exist within each and every one of us, instead of taking that energy down to one which is characterized only by fear. So executive coaching, employing training, and consulting with decision makers is where I focus my time. I've had super opportunity to meet some great people, and in the process make a lot of good friends. Maryann Roefaro is one of them. And just want to give you a little bit more information about how to reach me. If you'd like to take a look at the website, we're at www.theintuitiveorganization.com. Take a look at the website, see what services are currently being offered, and if it makes sense for you, either as an individual or as an organization. You can also reach me at Twitter at Work Intuitively, follow my tweets. I'm on LinkedIn like the rest of the world. And I also put out a weekly inspirational message in the focus of emotional intelligence. I have a huge growing list with lots of great feedback, and I thank everybody who takes the time to read these messages on a weekly basis. And I encourage you to subscribe by just going to the homepage of my website, The Intuitive Organization. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Maryann.
Well, thanks, Mary. Hi, everybody. Oh, I'm so excited to be back with all of you and want to thank you, whether you listen to us live or dig up our archive shows. We're very grateful that you allow us to be a part of your life. And I just want to remind everyone that I am the CEO of Hematology Oncology Associates of Central New York. We have 5 sites in the upstate New York, Syracuse surrounding area. And I just want to give a shout out to our wonderful physicians who allow me the time to do this show. We've got about 260 incredible employees, just a super group of people doing a wonderful job dedicated to the body, mind, and spirit of patients dealing with cancer and blood disorders. Got a very vibrant clinical research department. We've got the only cyber knife in town. And it's really a very special place. So I just want to let everybody know, if you want to know anything more about Hematology Oncology Associates, we hope that you would visit our website, www.hoacny.com. So in the evenings and on the weekends, I've got a private practice of energy healing. I've been a Reiki master teacher now for probably about 7 years and been doing it for about 11. I also do some spiritual mentoring. I'm a certified hypnotherapist. I do some leadership counseling and mentoring. And you can find out more about me and that book that I wrote at www.doitfromtheinsideout.com. doitfromtheinsideout.com. A lot of great stuff on that little website. You can look at my book and access how to purchase that from Amazon or Barnes & Noble. You'll see Mary in my picture in the bottom left corner. And if you click on that, you can access all of our free podcasts at the iTunes store. Oh, we have like 60-something of them now for all of our weekly shows that we've done that have been recorded and put on there for free. You can also catch me on Twitter. I tweet out a wisdom statement. Hopefully there's loaded with wisdom there every morning, and that's at Maryann Roefaro, and you can see all of that on doitfromtheinsideout.com. You can even send me an email if you'd like to. So that's it for me. Once again, I just want to say thanks, and I'm excited to kick off a new season. It's our Accountability Continued. We're all about accountability in the face of love-based decision-making, which is just the antithesis of fear. So if love and fear are the 2 basic primal emotions in which everything else sprouts from that, we don't want people to function from a level of fear. We want them to function from a level of freedom, which is all about love. So that's what Mary and I are doing. We're here every week trying to provide a blueprint for new leadership, building intuitive leaders and really changing that old paradigm from fear to freedom. And with that, as we always do, Mary reviews our mission, we go over our guiding principles, and then we'll kick off this awesome show. And then 13 weeks of wonderment.
Wonderment. You got it. So our mission is to transform the workplace by doing 2 things. First, to inspire, and then hopefully to demonstrate in practical ways what we call freedom-based decision-making. And another way of saying that is love-based decision-making. When we decided to get together and do this show as a team, we really thought it was important to put together what we thought our philosophy was. And we boiled that down to 4 guiding beliefs, and I'm going to share the very first one with you right now. We are one, and life is a process of remembering who we are and why we're here. And the reason why we share this with you every week is to help you understand that from our perspective, we believe that the source source of all of your information, the best information that you could get, the free information that you could get comes from within you. And that, in fact, whether you're a leader of one or a leader of 1,001 or a leader of 100,001, we want you to always look first to your authentic self, to your own journey, as the way to find that best answer. And life is a process of remembering that and recognizing that you need not go far to get the best and most powerful information necessary.
Our second, we are only limited by the boundaries we place on ourselves. So very often we put limitations on ourselves, but we think that other people are putting them there. But when we really look within and we think and we evaluate and we analyze, we can see that often we are enveloped in fear. And it's really fear that is preventing us from reaching whatever goals and objectives that we have our mind set on. So we are only limited by the boundaries we place on ourselves. So don't walk down the road of limitation. Walk down the road of potential. Potential paved in love, self-confidence, self-actualization, self-transformation.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Number 3, things are not always what they appear to be, and this is probably my favorite. And the reason why this is important for us to share with you every week is we want to remind you that you cannot avoid drama as long as you're a human being. And if you are a leader, others look to you for your model of excellence, don't they? And so when you are taking a look at being able to leverage any situation to the highest outcome for everybody that's involved, we want you to be reminded also that your role is to stay grounded and to not get pulled into that drama. Sometimes the most difficult, obstacle-laden situation you may find yourself facing is, in fact, the most learnful. I just made up that word.
I like it.
Is the most powerful, and that if you can extract the essence of that learning, then you can then pay it forward and use it as you're leading other people, either personally or professionally. So that's number 3.
Beautiful. And when you realize things are not always what they appear to be, they also that helps to eliminate the victim mentality a little bit, that we'll talk about even today. But there's also, in our 4th guiding belief, there's a highest good for everything that happens in life, and we must be grateful for that, for whatever it is that happens. Embrace the energy of gratitude. So with those beliefs that things are not what they appear to be and that there's a highest good, it really helps us to understand that although we may not know the answers to our challenges, and although self-mastery doesn't eliminate issues and challenges within our life, it does teach us a way to have a different perspective so that we could still have a life filled with joy. And with that, Mare, how do I know it is time to let go?
And what a perfect way to start off these 13 weeks, because it harkens to the fact that you and I are basically each week talking to folks about a journey, and the journey happens to be their journey. And as with any journey, there's a starting point. There's the point at which you decide to pack your bags, to walk out the door, to get on the bus, to get in your car, to take a train, and to leave. And so I think today's a perfect way to kick that off, to begin this 13-week journey with our listeners, or if someone comes back and listens to the archive show, to recognize the necessity of this first step.
The first word that comes to my mind when I'm thinking, how do I know it's time to let go, is the word failure. Because so many times in life, we're afraid to let go of something, a personal relationship, a position in our work life, whatever it is, we're consumed with fear because we think, how do I know if it's time to let go? But in the background, it's, am I going to give up? Am I going to be a failure? Mary, are you with us?
I'm right here. I'm back.
Okay, great. So Mary left for a few minutes, so I tried to pick up. And Mary, what I was talking about is the word failure that came to me. Because so many times, maybe deep in our heart, we know it's time to let go of something, whether it be leave a position and go to a new place, perhaps leave in a relationship. but yet we feel that we would be a failure. So what I was going to tell everyone is to, I have this motto. It's called "There are no failures in life, only redirections." And I've been saying that my entire career. And I would say it was probably 20-something years ago, there was a challenge with a physician, and he was having some issues within his group, and I can't remember all the ins and outs of it. But I remember I helped him resolve by just talking to him. And he felt like he was a failure, and I gave him my "There are no failures, only redirections." And he sent me a beautiful bouquet of flowers with a note on it that said, "You're right. No failures, only redirections." And when we can change our perspective on something and we can look at it differently, and it really even goes back, Mary, to our guiding principles, right? Because things are not always what they appear to be. So
exactly.
those redirections in life, if we can get off of the word failure or think like that we're running away from something, sometimes the useful life of a relationship, the useful life of a work relationship, really everything that each party was to gain has been gained, and now it's time to move on. And Mary, I'm going to kick it back to you now so that you can go back to where you were.
Okay, so see if this makes any sense. I was about to read through just a couple of the initial thoughts of things to look for. So if that makes sense, I'll continue with that, and then we can play around with that a little bit. What we wanted to do is to give you some specific things that you might be experiencing. And if you hear any of these and it resonates, then you know you're on the path. Then you know it's time to pull that suitcase out of the closet and maybe start hunting around for some walking shoes, okay? So the first one is that you have a sense you have to do it all by yourself. That kind of lonely aloneness that sometimes will come forward is a way for you to say, you know what? This might be an example of my time to start looking within and my opportunity to say what else is out there. Another one that we see is when someone tends to run out of motivation. When you used to have a lot more enthusiasm for a particular activity, for a job, for a task, for a way of life. When you begin to sense that there's an energy drain there, it's really important to take a look at that. And that's not always easy. Trust me, I've been involved with that myself. And again, it goes back to how do you want to define that word failure? How do you want to define that word failure? Because as Maryann says, it's really about being redirected. Another one, spending time in the past. This is, the trip down nostalgia lane. When you tend to notice that your imagination or your focus of thought, your train of thought, if you will, is reminiscent and reminiscing about how things used to be, that's a pretty strong indicator that you are getting ready to let go of something if you so choose. One more, and then I'm going to turn it over to Maryann, see what her thoughts are. And I love this one. I don't like it, actually, but I love it because it's so true. And that is you're exhausted. You're exhausted. So for those people who are listening, I really want you to hold on to that one. Think of how many times a week and in what capacities you might find yourself to be truly at your wit's end and not getting the energy that, number one, is your right to receive. I want to say that one more time. We're on such a fast path, such a fast track as human beings. We've forgotten maybe what our ancestors used to be much more in touch with, and that is, it is not our natural nature to be running all the time. It is your right to not be exhausted. And if you find that you are, then that's another one that you need to be paying attention to. So what do you think, Mare? I think there's probably other people in the country saying, "Oh, that's because you're a New Yorker. Those New Yorkers are always going too fast. They're exhausted. You need to come down over here where things are slower." Anyways, yeah. And how about, speaking of exhausted, can I just say how many times I try to be mindful of that word, because very often I say to myself, I am exhausted. And then I will say to myself, no, you're not. You really have plenty of energy. What you are is sick of A, B, and C, or such and such. So, yeah, that's very good, because it's a form of discomfort, isn't it? And here's some more. How about when your life is full of snags and bad timing?
You know, did you ever have someone tell you, well, my timing's always off. I'm always in the wrong place at the wrong time. Well, let's also remember that the energy that creates situations for us isn't going to be the energy that resolves those situations. So until you have a change of thought, of mind, of perception, of fortitude, you're going to have that timing because you're going to create it. You're going to manifest it because you believe that that's how things are. And then sometimes, too, we try too hard. You know, I often have said to staff, do you feel like you're, because obviously I'll be doing some kind of leadership for 30 years pretty soon. And I use this analogy a lot. I'll say, do you feel like you're holding up a wall, and there's just ocean water behind it, just ready to kind of roll you over and flatten you out? And, life is really too short, and it should be filled with joy to have so much stress of just trying to keep up and stay afloat. So when you're trying too hard, it means something. And how about restless? Mara, what do you think of being restless?
I agree. I think that when you start to find your mind wandering, that might mean, in fact, you are bored or there isn't an alignment anymore. We forget that as human beings, development doesn't stop when you're 18. You have a life filled with developmental stages and steps. So restlessness indicates often that it's just time to move on to the next one if you can identify it.
Mm-hmm. How about another couple, Mary, and then I'll be thinking of some while you're doing that.
All right, and then let's see if we've got time to read that book.
Oh, okay.
I have to say that one of my most poignant is when something you are involved in or with consistently gives you more pain than joy. I got to say that one again. When something or someone consistently gives you more pain than joy, it's time to reevaluate. And that goes for jobs, that goes for coworkers, that goes for personal relationships, and it goes back to what I said just a couple minutes ago. Don't ever forget that you have the inherent right to happiness. It's not within our contract to be sad all the time or to be upset. It's within your contract to take responsibility for your life and to remind yourself of one very important thing. It is no one else's job to live your life than yours.
Right.
And so that means extract yourself from the situations that are draining and start packing your bag. Now, I'm hoping we've got a couple minutes. Do you have anything we can read today?
Yeah, actually, everything that we've really talked about, how you alluded to when you feel like you have to do it all yourself, when we're spending time lamenting about the past, when you're not motivated anymore, when you feel exhausted, when you're trying too hard, when there's more pain than joy, those are all elements of discomfort. And discomfort just speaks volumes to us. And it's probably one of the greatest innate gifts that I think we were bestowed with that we don't often appreciate, because who likes discomfort? But discomfort protects us and brings us great insight. And so in my book, I have an entire chapter called The Value of Discomfort. And just once again, for those of you who may not know, the name of my book is Building the Team from the Inside Out, a Multidimensional View of Leadership. So this actually comes from page 66 and 67, and it's about discomfort. And it's a little excerpt. It goes like this. The greatest power we have is the one within ourselves. Love and gratitude and a knowing of abundance, along with hard work and diligent efforts, will provide the energy and intention of economic stability and comfort. Discomfort is an innate gift, not a burden or sacrifice or duty. There is no martyrdom in possessing discomfort. Martyrdom is our human expression of a victim mentality in action. Then I go on and I say self-mastery cannot be fully expressed by putting forth effort to understand our minds and acknowledge the presence of our higher self, but neglecting physical. I talk a little bit about that. It's common to hear somebody say, I've been so busy burning my candle at both ends that I've made myself sick. How often, however, do you hear, boy, I was on the verge of getting sick when I realized what was going on and I healed myself? Why do so many people readily accept that we can make ourselves sick, but will not that we have been gifted with the same innate ability to heal ourselves? Is it because we are a people who embrace suffering as an everyday part of life? Have we been programmed that sickness is an integral part of life, but healing depends on whether we deserve it? Have people been programmed that healing is decided upon by an outside influence or through the will of a higher power? Do we feel unworthy of possessing healing abilities? Are healing gifts only provided to saints and holy people? I suppose there are as many answers as people, but I believe we are amidst a changing tide where people are being led to the self-discovery that healing gifts are possessed by everyone. The power and mystery that resides within our bodies provides the mechanisms for self-healing, and that power is fundamentally related to our thoughts, beliefs, guiding principles, and our self-confidence. Discomfort comes in a variety of shapes, sizes, and flavors, the most profound of which can render a life-altering experience or wake-up call. Our internal auditor has a plethora of options to communicate with us. When we are highly sensitive to the internal workings of our precious human machinery, we can sense nuances of discomfort before they manifest into more challenging and acute symptoms. We have the ability to tune into our internal physician and diagnose and heal. Our bodies are filled with systems that constantly monitor our health and well-being because that is the role they were created to play in our life. So, Mary, just like you said, if it doesn't bring you joy, why are you doing it? We weren't put here to have a life of distress. We were put here with the ability to choose an incredible power from the power of our mind and how we look at situations.
And I think what happens to so many of us is that, as I said earlier, we get on this fast track where the pace becomes so accelerated and the distractions are so intense. Whether that distraction is the distraction of the media, the distraction of our coworkers, of our internal dialogue, it doesn't matter. This is a difficult time to be alive. Difficult in the sense that we're assailed with more information in one day than what our ancestors dealt with in their entire lifetimes. And that's true. I can't remember exactly how long ago that was, but I heard that statistic recently. So we're here, everyone, to help you remember, right? To remember that it is your inherent right to feel that peace that exists at any given moment, and to recognize that the only way that you can begin this journey is to take that first step through discomfort, as Maryann was talking about in her book, noticing some of the telltale signs that we just shared with you as part of today's show, and recognizing most importantly, that you always have the abilities, the skills, the resources within you to be successful. The success doesn't exist outside of you. It exists inside of you. And you can look at other people and say, well, they're good at so-and-so, and they're successful, and I'm not, because you're doing that one thing that we would encourage you not to do. And I know it happens to me too, and that is you compare where you are to where others are. So if you can get just a handle on any one of the things that we've shared with you today, then we know that you can begin this odyssey, right? You can begin the journey with that first step, recognizing that every step thereafter becomes easier and easier because an object in motion stays in motion.
Newton.
Okay. What kind of thoughts do you have as we kind of wind it out?
I just want to end with sometimes, and things are not always what they appear to be, someone helps us to let go and to move on. And very often, human behavior is such that there's anger and resentment with that. But when you truly understand that at a soul level, we're all here and have co-created and made plans to help people in different ways, then we know that should you have someone else instigate the termination of a relationship or a job or whatever, still evaluate, for there is a reason for everything, and everything is for our highest good. So when we remember those guiding principles, they can really kind of fit into every single topic, can't they? And I guess I just wanted to end with, sometimes people help us move on, and we can't see it in the beginning, but with time we can.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And so before we say goodbye, I just want to let people know next week we're going to be focusing on why is no one listening to me? What you need to know today to get others to listen.
Terrific. And just remember, everyone, Mary's website, www.theintuitiveorganization.com, all one word. Mine, www.doitfromtheinsideout.com. You can contact Mary and I at those sites. You can sign up for Mary's newsletter. You can get my tweets, her tweets. And that's it, guys. Have a great, and gals, have a great week. And thanks again for allowing us to be a part of your life.
Take care, everybody.